I cannot believe I've nearly had my Turbo Levo for 1 year. I got it in September 2018 from the good guys at Berkshire Cycles who have done all the work and stuff and all the upgrades and bits and pieces for me. So many new e-bikes have been announced in the past few months. So can this 2019 Turbo Levo still compete? Is it a great e-bike going into 2020? Because not much is changing really for the new one. So I want to give you my kind of long-term opinion on what the 2019 Turbo Levo has been like. Released in September 2018, the Turbo Levo was one of the very first electric mountain bikes with a completely integrated battery. It's got a seamless look, and the designers have succeeded in creating a frame that not only conceals the battery, but is also totally silent when you're riding. No annoying rattles, cable slaps or squeaks. In fact, it's difficult to tell at first glance that it's actually an e-bike until you see the large motor housing at the bottom, and this contains the Bros Magnesium S motor, and it's still one of the best e-bike motors on the market. Over the past year, I've made quite a few modifications to my bike, so I want to talk you through them in a bit more detail. I've changed so much stuff on it. The spec as standard, if you look at it on paper, like I said in my original review that I did, pretty much everything will beat it. They're expensive e-bikes, but you're paying for the technology in the frame, the motor and the battery, which I think the integration of this is the best integration still of any e-bike that I've seen, because of the way that it integrates into the frame and of how neat that they've managed to do it without any kind of noise or rattle. Now, I've been riding this for ages, and I've not heard any noise coming from in there, any cable noise, any battery movement. It is just absolute solid. Most e-bikes that have come out now within the past few months, you still have a semi-integrated, so it still kind of bolts in there. Not all of them, but a lot of them are kind of doing it that way, like the Decoy and a lot of other bikes. The motor is the Bros Mag S. It's still, I think, the best motor on the market that you can get in terms of power delivery, weight, size. I believe that this is the best motor that you can get for 2019 and 2020 bikes, and to be honest with you, I think all the gains that we're going to see next are just going to be real marginal gains, because you can't get much lighter than magnesium, and when you create energy, power distributed or energy moving from the battery to the motor, you do create heat and noise. It's a bit of a byproduct. The frame and the motor, the battery, the way it's integrated is just absolutely brilliant. I really like it. Now, you'll notice on this bike I've changed loads, and I've been in a really lucky position because of my channel that a lot of this stuff I've not had to pay for, it's loaned. So the Fox suspension has been sent through to me from Fox UK, as have most of the other parts, to be honest, and I'm so lucky and grateful to be able to test these. Now, I do need to give them back at some point. I've also tried the DT Swiss F5351 fork in 150, and I've got the DT Swiss wheels on, which I think are just absolutely bulletproof. I've put those through quite a lot of beatings since I've had this bike. So one of the biggest changes I've made is to the fork. The original is 150 and 150 at the rear, but I've gone for a 160, and that has been really good actually. It's changed the geometry slightly. It's made it slightly slacker, so it's now around 65 degrees, the head angle, and I've got a little bit more travel, and honestly you can notice it. You can notice the slight difference in the head angle. Just feels a little bit more reassuring, should I say, going over some chunkier stuff. And then I've got an extra 10 mil of travel, and that might not sound a lot, but that 1 centimetre of change added to the geometry change definitely changes the feel of the bike. Now, I wish that they did this in 160 as standard, because I think a 160, 150 is kind of like absolutely prime for the majority of riding that a lot of like trail, all mountain and enduro riders are gonna need really. So that's been a really pleasant change. I've really enjoyed that. And if you're thinking about it, I mean, the bikes are expensive to start with, but you do get a really decent enduro or mountain trail bike with a 160 fork paired with the 150 travel on the rear. And again, this is the Fox DPX2, which Fox UK kindly have loaned me just for this season to test. And what can I say, it's so plush. It's got the remote piggyback on there, so it doesn't heat up as quick. You can go down some really long runs, and the performance is just really consistent. Now, it does mean that I can't run a full-size bottle in there because of the piggyback, so just something to be aware of. Now, I had one of the original bikes out of the factory, so be fair to say that the Levo, when it was announced, came with some pretty major issues. First one was the Bros motor. Now, Bros had a manufacturing defect on many thousands out of the factory from the beginning, and you heard probably in some original ones some real loud, whiny kind of motors. Now, that is all fixed now, so you don't really need to worry about that at all, because all the new 2020 bikes, and even a few months into production for 2019, they sorted all of that out. There's been some running changes as well. There was this kind of crap build up just in there, and you can see that the guys at Berkshire Cycles have put that new Specialized little piece in there. This was also changed, the linkage around here to stop stones and stuff getting caught in there and scratching the frame. But honestly, as long as you've got a good dealer, I didn't really worry about that because I knew that it would get sorted out. 36 tooth chainring on the front. So the only thing I haven't changed is the X-Fusion dropper. It's actually really good. See no need to change that whatsoever. And the brakes. And I think the guide brakes that I've got on here are good enough for most UK riding. I think the only reason I would change them would be if I was doing more riding in the Alps and I was doing more long descents. I think these, as they are for UK stuff, are really good. Gone for the Renthal fat bars at 800mm wide, just really like wide bars. I'm 191 centimeters, so I prefer the leverage with a wider bar. The stem is the same size, it's a 50mm stem. Just looks really neat. And then my saddle of choice has been this Ergon e-bike saddle. You see this kind of lip, it's like a little arse shelf at the back, which is so comfortable on longer rides. And the grips, the Ergon GE1 grips. But one of the biggest updates I've done has been to the 700 watt battery, because going from a 500 to a 700 watt is a 40% increase in battery energy, and the rides that you can do are just epic. 30-40 miles in the Surrey Hills, and that's pretty much all day riding, and gone is that range anxiety, or whatever you want to call it, that you get with a 500 battery. So if I was buying a e-bike in 2020, one of the key things I'd be looking for would be a battery that is more than 500 watt hour now, because when you're riding with people that have got 700 watt batteries, or you just want to go out for a massive turbo blast, a 700 watt hour battery is going to give you so much fun. And that would be the first thing I would change if I were to change anything, and then I would change the suspension, then the wheels, probably in that order, because most other things stock are fine. I don't really care about shifters, derailleurs or cassettes. They're all just serve a purpose, and then when they break you can replace them. This kind of bike in this kind of travel really suit me and UK riding, which is trails, natural stuff, bike parks, all that kind of stuff. I think it's just got sorted geometry. It's not massively extreme. I would like to see the reach a little bit more. This is 480 in XL. Maybe getting up to 495, 500 would be really cool. for a future Levo, so who knows, maybe we'll see that one day. And the chainstay, I'm quite interested in trying like a mullet bike, a 27.5 on the rear, get the chainstay a little bit shorter to help with like the liveliness of it.
Perhaps the most important thing is how it rides. Well, it's still amongst the top few handling e-bikes that I've ever ridden. As a complete package with the Bros motor, the great range from the 700 watt-hour battery, all-day trail riding is a reality. With superb handling and agility from a well-sorted trail bike, you get excellent balance between the front and the rear suspension with well-designed kinematics and a strong, solid carbon frame that gives outstanding trail feedback. Expensive, yes, but still a bike I'd highly recommend.